My name is Lena Carter. I'm 28 years old. And 7 years ago, I learned something about family that no one ever prepares you for. Sometimes the people who say they're doing something for the family are really doing it for someone else entirely. The moment that realization hit me happened at our dining table on a Tuesday evening. My parents asked me to sit down. That alone felt strange. We didn't usually have serious conversations like that. Most of the time, family dinners were casual, small talk about work, errands, or whatever show my mom was watching that week. But that night the room felt different. My mother kept folding and unfolding her napkin. My father stared at the table like he was preparing for something unpleasant. Then my mom finally spoke. "We need to talk about your college fund." That sentence immediately made my stomach tighten. Because the fund wasn't just money. It was something my grandfather created before he passed away. He had always believed education was the most valuable investment anyone could make. Before he died, he set aside $87,000 specifically for my university tuition. He made it clear to everyone in the family what it was for. My education. Not emergencies. Not family loans. Not anything else. Just school. So when my mom brought it up that night, I already had a feeling something wasn't right. She took a slow breath before continuing. "Your sister is going through a difficult time." That part didn't surprise me. My older sister, Rachel, had always been in some kind of crisis. Broken relationships. Lost jobs. Bad financial decisions. There was always something. But what my mother said next did surprise me. "We've decided to use some of the college fund to help her get back on her feet." For a moment, the words didn't even register. I just stared at them, waiting for the sentence to finish. But it didn't. That was the whole explanation. My father cleared his throat and added quietly. "She's pregnant. Her boyfriend lost his job. They're behind on rent." Then my mom said the line that hurt the most. "You're strong. You'll figure things out." It sounded like a compliment. But it wasn't. It was justification. They were saying I didn't need the help as much. That my future was flexible. Negotiable. Sacrificial. I sat there for a few seconds, letting the silence settle. Then I nodded slowly. "Okay." Both of them looked visibly relieved. Like they had been expecting a fight. An argument. Maybe even tears. But I didn't give them any of that. I stood up. Gave my mom a quick hug. And walked upstairs to my room. What they didn't know was something important had already happened 3 weeks earlier. Because 3 weeks earlier, I had already moved the entire fund into an account that only I controlled. Legally. Completely. And by the time my father tried to access it later that night, he was already locked out. That night at 9:14 p.m., my phone vibrated. A notification from the brokerage app. Login attempt detected. The location was listed as our home office downstairs. My father. I sat quietly on my bed watching the screen. Another notification popped up. Second login attempt. Then a third. And finally the message I had been waiting for. Account temporarily locked due to multiple failed login attempts. I could actually hear my father's chair rolling back downstairs. The faint sound of frustration in his voice. For the first time in my life, I felt calm during one of those moments. Not victorious. Not angry. Just calm. Because for the first time, I knew the decision wasn't theirs anymore. This situation didn't appear overnight. It had been building for years. Rachel had always been the center of attention in our family. Not because she tried to be, but because something was always happening with her. And whenever those things happened, the solution somehow involved my parents helping her. Financially. Emotionally. Constantly. When Rachel crashed her car in high school, my parents covered the insurance difference. A year later, when she dropped out of college halfway through the semester, they helped her pay off the student loan balance. When she moved apartments 3 times in 2 years, they paid deposits every time. Each situation came with the same explanation. Family supports each other. And I believed that. I really did. But over time I started noticing something uncomfortable. Support only seemed to move in one direction. By the time I turned 21, I started researching custodial accounts online. Just out of curiosity. That's when I discovered something interesting. Once the beneficiary becomes an adult, the account legally becomes theirs. Not the parents'. Not the guardians'. Theirs. Which meant something important. The fund was already mine. Legally. My parents had simply assumed they still controlled it. That realization didn't make me angry. But it made me cautious. So I contacted the brokerage firm quietly. Updated my login credentials. Enabled 2-factor authentication. Changed the recovery email. And transferred full control of the account into my name. Everything was done properly. Everything documented. Everything legal. I didn't do it to start a conflict. I did it because something in my gut told me I might need to. And 3 weeks later, that instinct proved right. When my father finally called me downstairs that night, he looked frustrated. "What did you do to the account?" My mom stood beside him with her arms crossed. I kept my voice calm. "I changed the password." My father frowned. "You can't do that." I met his eyes. "Yes, I can." Then I placed a folder on the table. Inside was a printed copy of the original account agreement. And a letter my grandfather wrote when he created the fund. In the letter he explained exactly why he set the money aside. To ensure Lena has the opportunity to pursue higher education without financial barriers. No ambiguity. No exceptions. My father read the letter slowly. Then looked back at me. "You planned this." I shook my head. "No," I said quietly. "I just prepared." The room went silent after that. Not angry silence. Just realization. My mother looked like she didn't know what to say. Finally she asked softly, "So you're not going to help your sister?" That question stayed with me. Because it framed the entire situation wrong. Helping Rachel wasn't the issue. Taking something meant for my future without asking was. "I'm not taking anything away from her," I said. "I'm just not giving up what Grandpa left for me." Things were different after that night. No shouting. No dramatic confrontations. Just distance. The kind that slowly appears when people realize they can't make decisions for you anymore. I focused on school. Worked part-time. Graduated with honors. Eventually, I built a career as a financial advisor. Ironically, helping young adults understand something I wish someone had explained earlier. Being responsible doesn't mean you owe everyone access to your future. A few years later, my mom said something that stuck with me. "We thought you'd understand." And in a way, I did. I understood that my parents weren't trying to hurt me. They were trying to fix a problem the only way they knew how. But they were fixing it with the wrong person's resources. And that's where I had to draw the line. Today I still keep my grandfather's letter framed in my office. Not because of the money, but because of what it represents. A reminder that planning ahead isn't selfish. Sometimes it's necessary. Especially when the people around you assume you'll always sacrifice first. Looking back now, I don't regret that night. Not the silence. Not the decision. Not the boundaries. Because that moment taught me something important. Being the responsible one doesn't mean giving everything away. Sometimes it means protecting what was meant for you.